Get the hell out of here. Keep tapping the screen, sharing out the live. I'm setting up the YouTubes right now. Sorry about that.
Abelina ballerina, spinning in her tutu. All the world's a stage, lacing up her ballet.
Oops, sorry about that.
Abelina ballerina, they applaud as you dance. You're so precious, little angel. Dance away if you can. Abelina ballerina, wooden floor counting time. In the mirror she's a swan, arabesque in pink tights. Abelina ballerina, sitting still in a pew. Preacher says that light you feel doesn't really come from you. They tell her every step is borrowed, her plie heaven sent. And for every bow she's taken, she's got something to repent. Abelina ballerina, stand still, don't twirl. It's your fault if they're not holy, so be a good little girl. Abelina ballerina, preacher says, let us pray. Closes the door so no one hears, calls it a special game. He says this is guidance, says she's holy, full of grace. Claims God needs her silence, blessed are those that obey. Abelina ballerina, the light has left her eyes. She no longer hears the music, and her steps are out of time. Abelina ballerina, remember how you twirled. Who's to blame if they're not holy? You're still just a little girl. Abelina ballerina, stand still, don't twirl. It's your fault if they're not
Technical
holy.
issues.
So be a good little girl. Abelina ballerina, those aren't butterflies you feel. Life grows heavy inside you, child. There's no way to conceal. They say her name like a warning, obedience her only crime. While he preaches purity, taking them for every dime. Abelina ballerina learns what judgment cost, learns who gets forgiven and who pays the loss.
Hope you guys are having a good Tuesday. I know Mezzo's live, but you know what? This is already my time slot.
Even after what they take, she devours her education, and her eyes begin to shine. Music pours out from within her, and her steps fall back in time. She reads the words they cherry-picked, preaches truth they try to hide. She interrogates the God, she uncovers every lie. She shows why nothing ever changes, who the system benefits. Men of God who feed on power, abuse, shame, and the grift. Abelina ballerina, show me how you twirl, spinning in the sunlight, dancing with your little girl. Abelina ballerina, dancing center stage again. Abelina ballerina, dancing barefoot in the sun. You're so precious, little angel, and your dance has just begun.
If you are friendly, you want to come up and hang out today, the guest box is open. I know there's only 4 of you in here, but keep tapping that screen and doing all the good stuff. I have a little competition this morning, and that's Mezzo. So it's going to be a little bit harder for me to get people in here, but just keep doing what you're doing. People will come. I do have an anti-sermon for you this morning. I somehow miss a good chunk of women in Genesis. So we're going back into Genesis. I forgot some major players, and we're going to go back and do their sermons this week. And what do you mean, what's Esau? How are you a Christian, B Star? How do you not know what Esau is? I hope you don't work too hard, Tahir. I know that you just moved and everything. Good. I I hope I spelt it correctly because sometimes I screw it up there, Asher. Esau is the brother of Jacob. I just spell it out for him, I'll just tell him. Oh, okay. So that means, so you probably are a Christian then if you don't read the Bible. I would assume you're probably a Christian. Most Christians don't read the Bible. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, maybe he was copying what I wrote. I don't know, Asher. I don't know how somebody who doesn't know who that is gets it right. I don't know. Good morning, the Apple. Can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
Hello, I'm 24.
Okay, so today my question is, why does God hate Esau but not Satan?
Okay, because God obviously doesn't hate Satan, because Satan, he was like, okay, Satan, you want to be God over something. I will give you can like rule, but you're not really ruling because God is still sovereign. But you can, deceive people for a while, recruit them, make them believe that they can get fame and fortune from you only for a while. And then for the rest of eternity, you and your minions, you and the third of angels you brought down with you are gonna be in
Okay, you're
hell,
only telling me
tormented
why
for.
God hates Satan. You're not telling me why he hates, why he likes Satan, but why does he hate Esau and not Satan? Esau didn't do anything, and Satan has done horrendous things, according to Christians. So why?
It doesn't say that God likes Satan. No, that's why the enemy is jealous of humans, of man, because God loves us. We have the option of redemption. We are made in his image, but God does not love Satan. No.
But
And the
why
reason
does
it
he
says,
hate Esau and not Satan?
okay, so the word hate there just goes to show that he favored Jacob over Esau,
No, it
because
doesn't.
Esau
It
chose.
says God hated Esau before he was born, even. Poor little Esau. He
Yeah,
didn't even do
because
anything. He was so innocent.
no. He
I thought he
sold
was
his
really cute.
birthright for a bowl of porridge. So obviously he did not
Excuse
have
me?
God's will in mind.
Excuse me? Excuse me? The dude was starving
Excuse
and he went to his
me.
brother and he was like, oh my God, I am so hungry. And his brother was like, okay, give me your birthright and I'll give you this stew. And instead of punishing Jacob, God should have punished Jacob right there. He should have been like, you know what? Your brother came to you. He was starving. He was starving, by the way. He wasn't just hungry. Okay, this was somebody who literally had not eaten in a very long time. And instead, Jacob was like held it over him. He was like, no, you give me your birthright and then I'll feed you. And God should have punished Jacob right then. But he didn't, because he hated Esau before he was born. So it had nothing to do with the stew, because the Bible says it was before he was born.
Yeah, because God knew before he was born that he would
Because
choose
he
instant
created him that way.
gratification.
He
over
created him that way. So maybe he
whole
should have
destiny.
created him differently, right? Like he could have made it so he didn't do that. And he could have made it so he had food somewhere else that he didn't have to give his birthright away for. You know, he could have just provided food for him like he does other people. There's no reason to hate Esau
I'm
for
not.
this. He's hating Esau for things that he did, and he loves Satan even though Satan does all the bad things.
He doesn't love Satan, okay?
He
loves man more than Satan.
See, I can make fun of your voice too. That's fun.
Okay, forgive me for making fun of your voice. He loves us more than Satan. He doesn't. Yeah, he loves mankind more than Satan. He doesn't love Satan at all because he's gonna rot in eternity for deceiving us. And hell, sorry, for eternity for deceiving us.
I think that God loves Satan because that's his friend. That's why we always find Satan doing whatever God asks him to do. Nowhere in the Bible does Satan do anything without God's permission.
Yeah, exactly, because he's the accuser of the brethren. The Lord created him a certain way, and then he chose to rebel. And then God said, okay, fine, you know what? For a while, you know, you can be like, feel like you rule over, because, you know, he has established his, I don't even want to call it a kingdom of darkness, but the powers that rule over this world, that's all the enemy. That's all the enemy. So God said, okay, fine, I'll give you a while to rule over, but only for a while. And then the rest of eternity, you and your minions will be suffering in hell. So that does not seem like love to me. Love to me is him sending his only begotten son to die for all of mankind, regardless of what you've done, because
he didn't need to do
he
that.
forgives mankind.
We don't want that. Like, nobody asked for that. This is all theatrics. There's a God sitting up there and he's going, you know what? I'm going to create a bunch of people and I'm going to make them. I'm going to create them so they do awful things. And then I'm going to blame them for the way I create them. And then I'm going to unalive myself to myself for myself. And I'm going to call it a sacrifice. And then I'll tell them, see, I love you. It's all arbitrary.
Yeah,
and inappropriate. Absolutely.
No, I mean, I'm not agreeing with you, but I can't argue because you don't seem to have an understanding of the spiritual things, and God has because he's all wise, he made the world a certain way, right? In the Old Testament, they had to sacrifice lambs as an atonement.
They didn't have to. Who made that rule?
Sins.
Who made the rule? Who made the rule?
He put that rule in place,
so
in
he
his
didn't
wisdom
have to
and his
make
all-knowingness.
It's not wisdom. It's not wisdom. You know what's weird? Christians sit here and try to say, oh my God, satanic cults, they do animal sacrifices. You guys did animal sacrifices and you never thought it was weird that you guys did animal sacrifices. This God has called for blood since day one. And instead of saying, wow, that's abhorrent, I don't want to worship a God who requires blood sacrifices, you all go, but it's because he loves us. It's not love. That is so gross. The amount of bloodshed this God has required since the beginning of time is disturbing.
You can't act more righteous because God says,
I can. I'm far more righteous than you, for sure.
Why are you saying
because you believe in a God who thinks it's okay to sacrifice humans, and I don't. I think that's abhorrent.
Yeah, but you see, he searches the hearts and he sees man's heart. Every inclination from childhood is evil.
I want to search his heart. I think he's evil. That's why he didn't want people to eat from the knowledge of good and evil, because you would be able to figure out that he's the evil one.
No, he's righteous and holy, and I
no, he's not.
Pray
he
that
just
you
tells
come
you
to that
and you
understanding,
go, okay.
Mel.
No, he's not. And you guys sit there and he goes, I'm righteous and I'm holy. Don't pay attention to all the shitty things I do. I'm righteous and I'm holy. Just listen to me. And you guys go, okay, all right, you said it. It must be true. Even though every action that he shows you is not righteous, nor holy, nor loving, nor good.
I pray that you taste just how good the Lord is. I pray that
I do
you
not
come
want
to that
him.
understanding and you see just how good he is. The enemy is the one that hates us. He hates all humans.
I hope that you start reading the Bible like I have, and you start realizing that this Bible is full of atrocities. And I hope you start educating yourself on how much this God hates women, how this Bible was never written to you or for you. It was written by men, for men, to men. And they excluded you on purpose because they never saw you as human to begin with. And that is why we live in a misogynistic, patriarchal society that is oppressing women, killing us at an alarming rate, allowing men to get off with heinous crimes against women because of this book and this religion that you follow. I hope that you wake up one day and realize I have given in to a patriarchal society and a misogynistic religion, and I'm not going to do it anymore. That's my hope for you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hi, what's up?
Hey, servant, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
Yeah, I'm 19.
I'm sorry, what? 19?
I'm 19, yeah.
Okay. And why does God hate Esau and not Satan?
Yeah, so God, so if we're actually looking at, are you looking at the Hebrew? Or are you like,
It would not be in the Hebrew, it would be in the Greek because it's in the New Testament where it says that.
God, but Esau, God hated, but, are you talking about which verse? Because there's also a verse in the Old Testament that says that.
Can you please give me any verses where it talks about God hating Esau? Hey, Eddie's World. Hey, Douglas,
Either
Ashra,
way,
Tahir. Good morning, everybody.
I wanted
Welcome in.
to talk.
Let's, just a minute. Excuse me, just a minute. Was I talking to my audience and you just decided to interrupt me? Don't do that. It's really rude. I'm saying hello to some people while the verses are being pulled up. Okay, Malachi 1, verses 2 and 3. I have loved you, says the Lord, but you say, how have you loved us? Is not Esau Jacob's brother, says the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, but I have hated Esau.
Exactly.
I have made
it's not
his hill
in the New
country
Testament.
a desolation and his heritage a desert for jackals. Okay, it's not. Fine. Malachi, fine. Whatever.
Yeah, so
it's
if we
still
look at
telling
the
you he
Hebrew,
hated him. So what's your point?
Yeah, so that's not the root word in the Hebrew does not actually mean hate, like actually utterly despises his creation. It's talking about how God
hate in Malachi and in Hebrew and tell me what it means. Do you read Hebrew?
No, but you can look at the text.
Do you study Hebrew?
You could, I mean, for fun, yeah.
Oh, you do? Because I'm studying Hebrew right now
Awesome.
with a rabbi and a Hebrew scholar. So
Cool.
That's cool. It's really important that people learn things like this. Often written sain or saneh. The root is sin nun elf. This one means I hated. So the sentence literally means I loved Jacob and Esau I hated.
That's not what it means.
Literally.
What are you talking about?
Yes,
Read the root word. Hold on.
I just did.
You want me to pull it up?
I just did. If you're not going to listen, don't fucking stay up here. Just
You're
drop.
hilarious.
I'm not going to play with idiots today.
You're hilarious,
I don't have time
Either
for
way,
idiots.
do you want to talk about the
patriarchy? Just read it.
Do you want to talk about the patriarchy?
No, I want to talk about why God hates Esau, but not Satan.
Of course, God is going to hate Esau's actions and punish him because what Esau did was wrong.
He hated him before he was born, you idiot.
Why does it say that?
Show me the verse where it talks about how God hated Esau before he was born.
AI warrior, bro.
It's not AI warrior. AI warrior. I look things up, which you don't do.
Yeah, with
obviously.
AI. That's kind of funny. I thought,
Well, what's wrong with looking things
I thought AI
up
was
with
against
AI?
I thought AI was against your
Who
settings.
told you that? Who told you that?
What? Because AI is like destroying the earth?
When did have you met me? Have we ever talked?
Is AI destroying the earth? Yes or no?
I you know what? I think large corporations are destroying the earth in
Yeah,
every
large
aspect, and
corporation.
I'll never beat it. I'll
So
never be able
who
to get
owns
away from
AI?
large corporations.
Who owns AI? Let me
It
ask you.
depends on the company. Are
Yeah, it's
you?
large corporations, don't it?
I can't do idiots this
You're
morning. You don't want to talk about the Bible verses. You are going to do anything you can to talk over me while I'm literally looking at the Bible verses. Because if I go to the Bible verses, I'll prove you wrong. So now you're going to sit here and yap and yap and yap about AI instead of letting me get to the Bible verse. Show me the verse where God hated Esau before he was born. It's in Romans 9, 10, and 13. And not only that, but also when Rebekah had conceived children by one husband, our ancestor Isaac, even before they had been born or had done anything good or bad, so that God's purpose of election might continue not by works, but by his call. She was told, the elder shall serve the younger. As it was written, I have loved Jacob, Esau I hated. I know he does not want me coming up with the receipts. That's for sure. You guys, I have an anti-sermon for you this morning. We're going to go ahead and get to that because I only have, well, I'll talk to one more guest real quick and then we'll do the anti-sermon. I started screaming. Really? I started screaming. You men cannot handle if a person shows any emotion unless it's another man. You are such little snowflakes. I never screamed once. Hey, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
Yeah, I'm 20.
Am I screaming? Am I screaming? Oh my God,
I was just making a point. I mean, yeah, you called him an idiot when you try to interpret the verse.
Shut up.
All right, there we go again. You have very, very small emotional maturity, I could tell.
And you have a very small brain, I can tell.
All right,
Why
go for
does
it.
God hate Esau?
You're interpreting
but
the
not
verse
Satan?
incorrectly, firstly.
No, I'm not. I'm not interpreting it. I'm reading it. And I read it
When
in
you're
the
reading it at
original
a surface
Hebrew.
level, you're cherry picking a verse and you're not reading it in context, and you're just cherry picking it and taking up surface level.
That's not what cherry picking is, Pumpkin.
Oh, well, I mean, what is
I
cherry
read
picking?
the other verses too. I read the supporting verses. If you don't know what reading supporting verses means, that you're not.
Have you read Genesis where God?
So, do you have an argument? Are you going to talk about why God
said
hated
he loved
Esau
Jacob,
and not Satan?
Sure. Firstly, when God said that he loved Jacob and hated Esau, he was talking about the covenant that he established with Jacob over Esau and the fact that Esau was older, and yet he chose Jacob over Esau. Why?
And why did he do that?
Because of Esau's actions were despicable.
No, he did it before he was born.
Show me the verse where you mean he did it before he was born.
I already did. I just fucking read it. Apparently you weren't listening either. So I'm done with you fucking idiots who can't listen. Also, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't allow people up who are under 21 because I cannot handle the immaturity. I can't. You guys, I have a wonderful anti-sermon for you today. Let me pull that up for you because I cannot deal with these young men who have the maturity level of a goldfish. I can't do it. Thank you, Tyre. I just cannot do it. Like, that's what they sound like to me this morning. Oh my God. First of all, you're cherry picking a verse. I read several verses. Okay, well, what? What? You can't just come up and have a conversation and talk. You start right away with the whole, you're screaming. Nobody was screaming. Nobody has even yelled this morning. The fact that you can't handle a person having a conversation is crazy to me. God hated Esau before he was born, Zoki. You guys keep talking about what he did later when he was alive, but God hated Esau before he was born. He had already decided before he was born. God created the amnesty between the two brothers. God created that. The amnesty, I don't think that's a word. The animosity. And every morning now they they report me every morning. It's crazy. Okay, you guys. If you are waiting in the guest box, you're gonna have to wait a little bit because we're about ready to do my auntie sermon this morning. You guys, it's a good one. Share this out. I reported for I don't know. It said that hateful stuff or whatever. I don't know. Like I was being hateful, I guess, because I went yeah. I don't know what I did. I don't even look really anymore with it. Here, I'll read it to you. It says, I'm suspended for 10 minutes because the behavior is not in line with the policies. All these little men who act like they're big, tough guys, they hit that report button all the time because they're actually really weak little children. Okay. If you are friendly, by the way, Rat Soup, if you want to come up and hang out, you are always welcome to. You guys, Rat Soup and Robot Goat are going to be on Decon Q&A with Crystal J on Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So make sure you join us Sunday. You guys get to come up and ask Rat Soup and Robot Goat your questions. Check them out on Sunday with me right here. All right, you guys, here we go. The salt of the earth. Good morning. My name is Edith. Sometimes people call me Edith. Sometimes Edith. In some stories, I am called Ado. But most people never bother with my name. I am a wife. I am a mother. I run a household. My husband belongs to a powerful clan, a family that moves across the land with wealth and animals and servants. The men in this family command large households. They travel with herds and flocks numbering in the thousands. Servants move with them. Workers move with them. Children move with them. Where they settle, entire encampments rise with tents, animals, cooking fires, and people. The men in this family speak with kings. They sit in negotiations. They sometimes go to war. Their names carry weight when they arrive in a new place. My husband is part of that world, but my world looks different. My world begins before the sun rises. There's grain to grind, water to carry, bread to bake, animals to feed, clothing to mend, servants to direct, children to raise. My daughters need guidance in a world that moves quickly and often harshly. My husband spends time with men who say they hear the voice of God. Men visit, strangers pass through, news travels with travelers, and I keep the house steady while the world of men moves around us. We live in a city, a place where people wake early and sweep their doorways, a place where women bake bread before dawn, children run the streets, merchants argue in the markets, neighbors borrow tools, women gather at the well and share news. My friend lives a few houses down. Her baby just started walking. The old baker near the gate gives the children pieces of bread when he thinks no one is looking. A young woman across the street married last spring. This is my life. A house, neighbors, work, children. Ordinary days that pass one after another. And today, everything is different. We are running. There's no time to gather anything. No time to say goodbye. Just run. The air behind us roars. Something is falling from the sky. At first, I think it is dust, but it strikes my hair, my neck, my shoulders. Salt, soot, ash. The ground trembles. Behind us, I hear stone breaking, walls collapsing, buildings crashing down into the streets, fires falling from the sky, and beneath it, all I hear, people screaming, crying, calling out, the sounds of human beings dying. My mind goes to the people I know. My friend and her baby, the baker near the gate. The young woman who married last spring, the servants who worked in our household. Are they running? Are they trapped? Is anyone helping them? The sounds grow louder. The heat grows stronger. Debris strikes my legs as we run. Everything behind us is breaking apart. Everything I know, everything I love. And when I hear another crash behind me, another roar, another wave of screaming, I turn around. Genesis 19:15. When the morning arose, then the angels hurried Lot, saying, "Get up, take your wife and your daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the iniquity of the city." That is the first moment she appears in the Bible. Another woman without a name, another woman without a voice, without a story of her own. She enters the text as your wife, a woman who already has a life, a house, neighbors, children, work, a whole world that exists. But the story does not pause to introduce her. It simply moves forward. And that is how she enters the text, not with a name, not with an identity of her own, simply your wife. But her story will be debated for generations to come. Her story will be argued over by theologians, by philosophers, pointed to by teachers, claimed by archaeologists, all from a single moment recorded in the text. To understand that moment, we need to look at the story as it unfolds around her. Synopsis of her story. Genesis 19 tells the story of a family being warned to flee before the destruction of the city where they live. The narrative begins early in the morning when the angels urge the household to leave. Genesis 19:15. When the morning arose, then the angels hurried Lot, saying, "Get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the iniquity of the city." The warning is urgent. Destruction is coming, and the family is told to leave immediately. But the text tells us that the man of the household hesitates. Genesis 19:16. But he lingered. And the men took hold of his hand and the hand of his wife and the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful to him. And they brought him out and set him outside of the city. The angels physically take hold of their hands and lead them out of the city. Once outside, the instructions are made clear. Genesis 19:17. It came to pass when they had brought them out that he said, "Escape for your life. Don't look behind you, neither stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest you be consumed." The family is told to run. Do not stop, do not stay, do not look behind you. Then the destruction begins. Genesis 19:24-25. Then the Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah, sulfur and fire from the Lord out of the sky. He overthrew those cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew on the ground. Fire and sulfur fall from the sky. The cities are overthrown. The land is destroyed. The people are destroyed. And in the middle of that destruction comes the moment that will define her story. Genesis 19:26. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. After that sentence, the narrative moves on. Her life, her thoughts, and her story are not described again in Genesis. The only other time the Bible speaks about her directly comes much later, Luke 17:32. Remember Lot's wife. Rabbinic teachings. The Hebrew Bible gives us almost nothing about this woman. No name, no explanation, no motive. But the rabbis did what Jewish interpreters have always done with difficult texts. They wrestled with it. They filled the silence. They asked questions. Why did she look back? Why salt? Why that punishment? And in the world of Midrash, answers begin to appear. One of the most common rabbinic tradition gives her a name. Some rabbis call her Edith or Edith. The medieval collection Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer records this tradition when it says the wife of Lot was named Edith. Already the rabbis are doing something the biblical text never did. They give her a name, but the rabbis do not stop there. They begin asking about the strange detail of the punishment. Why salt? Why not fire? Why not stone? Why salt? In Genesis, Rabbah, a rabbinic commentary on Genesis, the rabbi suggests something very specific. They argue that the punishment matches the sin. Genesis, Rabbah explains she sinned with salt, and with salt, she was punished. And the rabbis imagine a backstory. They imagine that when Lot welcomed the strangers into his home, his wife did not approve. Hospitality in that city was dangerous. Protecting strangers could bring trouble. So according to the Midrash, she went to her neighbors under the pretense of borrowing salt. But in doing so, she revealed that guests were inside the house. Genesis Rabbah continues the story like this. She went out to her neighbors and said, "Give me some salt, for we have guests." And thus the people of the city learned of them. In this rabbinic imagination, the salt becomes symbolic. She exposes the visitors. She betrays the household. And therefore the punishment mirrors the action. She used salt, so she becomes salt. Rabbinic literature also remembers her in another interesting way. The rabbis say that even generations later, people traveling through the region could still see the pillar. And when they saw it, they were supposed to acknowledge the story. The Babylonian Talmud says, one who sees Lot's wife should recite, "Blessed is he who remembers the righteous," and over the place of Sodom and Gomorrah, he says, "Blessed is he who remembers the wicked." Babylonian Talmud, Berakat, 54a. In other words, the landscape itself becomes part of the teaching. Travelers pass through the region. They see the pillar. They remember the story. They say a blessing. The rabbis do not ignore the difficulty of the story. Instead, they expand it. They ask what might have happened behind the scenes. They ask what might explain the strange detail of salt. They imagine conversations, motives, and actions that the biblical text never recorded. Because for the rabbis, difficult stories were never meant to be ignored. They were meant to be wrestled with. And Lot's wife became one more place where the rabbis entered the struggle of interpretation. Christian teaching. In Christian tradition, the story of this unnamed woman is usually told very simply. She was told not to look back. She looked back anyway. And because she disobeyed, she was punished. Her story becomes a warning about obedience. But the story appears again in the New Testament where it is reduced to just 3 words. Jesus says, "Remember Lot's wife." Luke 17:32. The statement appears in a larger teaching about urgency and judgment. Jesus is speaking about a coming moment when people will have to act quickly. He describes people working in fields, people sleeping in beds, people living their ordinary lives when suddenly everything changes. And in the middle of that warning, he gives this brief reminder. Remember Lot's wife. For many Christian teachers, that sentence becomes the key to interpreting her story. The lesson is often explained this way. She looked back because her heart was still attached to the life she was leaving behind. Some Christian commentators say she longed for the city. Others say she doubted the warning. Others say she simply disobeyed. But most Christian sermons arrive at the same conclusion. Her turning back becomes a symbol of divided loyalty, a warning not to cling to the past, a warning not to hesitate when God commands something. The early Christian writer Clement of Rome, writing near the end of the 1st century, used her story as an example of what happens when someone looks backward instead of forward. Clement writes, "Through disobedience, Lot's wife became a pillar of salt, that it might be known to all generations that those who are double-minded and distrustful of the power of God incur judgment." Another early Christian theologian, Irenaeus, also repeats the story as a warning. Writing in the 2nd century, he says, "Lot's wife was made a pillar of salt for the instruction of those who follow after." Irenaeus, Against Heresies 4:36-3. In other words, her transformation becomes a teaching device. Her life becomes a sermon illustration. A moment of hesitation becomes a moral lesson repeated for centuries. And so, in Christian tradition, the unnamed woman who once ran from a burning city becomes something else entirely. A symbol, a warning, a reminder. Remember Lot's wife. What I was taught as a Christian. When I was growing up in the church, this story was always told the same way. Lot's wife disobeyed. That was the lesson. She was told not to look back. She looked back anyway. And because she disobeyed, God turned her into a pillar of salt. But the sermons didn't stop there. Her disobedience was said to reveal something deeper. It revealed doubt. And in the world I grew up in, doubt was one of the worst things a person could do. Faith was everything. Faith meant trusting God completely. Faith meant obeying immediately. Faith meant not questioning, not hesitating, not turning back. So when preachers talked about Lot's wife on Sunday mornings, they used her as a warning. They would say, she looked back because she longed for the old life she had left behind. She longed for the city. She longed for the comforts she once had. She longed for the past, and that longing was treated as a spiritual failure. The message was clear. Do not look back. Do not long for your old life. Do not revisit the past. If God tells you to move forward, you move forward. Looking back, even emotionally, was treated as a kind of disobedience. And Lot's wife became the example. But when you read the story again carefully, something very interesting appears in the text. Genesis 19:16. But he lingered. And the men took hold of his hand, and the hand of his wife, and the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful to him. And they brought him out and set him outside of the city. The text says he lingered. He hesitated. He delayed leaving. The angels actually have to grab him by the hand and pull him out of the city. And the text even tells us how to interpret that moment. It says the Lord was being merciful to him. Mercy is extended to the man who hesitates. Compassion is shown to him. Hands reach out and physically pull him to safety. But when the woman hesitates, when she turns towards the sound of her home collapsing behind her, there are no hands pulling her forward. There is no mercy. There is no compassion. The man lingers and receives mercy. The woman turns and becomes a monument, a pillar of salt. And for thousands of years, she becomes the warning told in sermon, the example of doubt, the example of disobedience, the example of what happens when you look back. Feminist interpretations. In recent decades, feminist scholars have returned to this story and asked a different set of questions. Instead of beginning with the assumption that this unnamed woman is the villain, they begin by asking something much simpler. What did she see? What did she lose? What does it mean that the only person in the story who turns to look at the destruction is the woman? The biblical text gives us almost nothing about her, and yet her moment becomes the entire lesson. For many feminist scholars, that silence itself is part of the story. They ask us to reconsider the moment when she turns. Perhaps it is not rebellion. Perhaps it is not doubt. Perhaps it is grief. Perhaps it is shock. Perhaps it is the instinct to witness what is happening behind her. Have you ever lost a home? I don't mean moved. I don't mean packed up boxes and relocated. I mean lost it. Have you ever faced the possibility that everything you own, everything you have worked for could disappear in a single day? I live in Southern California, and a few years back, fires surrounded our area. They were everywhere. You could see the smoke rolling across the sky. You could smell it in the air, and every hour there was another report of another house being devoured by flames. Neighbors' homes were burning. You couldn't breathe outside. Ash covered everything like snow, and before that moment, I had always thought I knew how I would handle something like that. I had insurance. I would get my family out, make sure my pets were safe, make sure my neighbors were okay. That's what I imagined. But when evacuation actually happens, it doesn't feel organized or calm. It feels chaotic. We were loading animals into the vehicles, cats, dogs, and our bearded dragon. We were grabbing whatever we could carry. We were trying to figure out where we would go, probably some cheap, flea-infested motel until we knew it was safe to come home. And as we were leaving, a realization hit me. Everything we owned could be gone while we were away. Every photograph, every piece of furniture, every book, every little thing that made our house feel like home. All of it could turn into ashes, and I cried. I cried because I could feel the grief before it even happened. I mourned in advance out of fear. And as we drove from our house, I did exactly what any human would do. I looked back. I couldn't help it. It wasn't rebellion. It wasn't doubt. It wasn't disobedience. It was grief. It was shock. It was my mind trying to understand what was happening. It was the instinct to look at the place that held my life and wonder if it would be there when I came back. Suzanne Schultz argues that the turning itself may have been an act of resistance. Writing about the story, she says Lot's wife turns as an act of resistance. In this reading, the woman does something the other characters refuse to do. She looks, she witnesses, she does not run blindly away from the destruction. She turns toward it. And that act transforms her from a symbol of disobedience into something else entirely, a witness. A woman who refuses to look away from violence. A woman who turns toward the destruction of her home and her community instead of pretending it is not happening. From this perspective, the pillar of salt becomes something different as well, not simply a punishment, but a monument, a permanent marker in the landscape that says something terrible happened here. A woman saw it, and the story could never completely erase the moment. Grief, shock, and resistance. All of those seem very reasonable and far more likely than just an act of doubt or disobedience. Deconstruction community discussions. Now, when the story comes up in conversation with Christians, one claim shows up again and again. Someone will say, they've actually found Lot's wife. And then they'll put out a picture of a tall pillar of salt near the Dead Sea and say, that's her. But when geologists study that area, the explanation looks very different. The region around the Dead Sea contains one of the largest natural salt formations on Earth. Along the southwestern shore sits Mount Sodom, a mountain that is composed almost entirely of rock salt, the mineral halite. This isn't a small deposit. It is a massive geological structure created by the movement of salt deep underground that is slowly pushed upward through the Earth's crust over time. The result is a mountain that is mostly salt, constantly shaped by erosion. Wind erodes it, rain dissolves it, underground water creates caves inside it. Eventually, those caves collapse and leave tall columns of salt standing behind. Those columns look exactly like pillars. In fact, scientists have studied one of these pillars directly. Geologist Dr. Amos Frumpkin of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem examined how these formations develop and explained that the pillars form when salt caves collapse, leaving isolated columns behind. As Frumpkin describes it, the pillar is the remains of a wall of karstic salt cave that collapsed. In other words, the pillar isn't a human body that turned into salt. It's what remains when part of a salt cave collapses and erosion slowly shapes the remaining wall into a tall column. The entire mountain where these pillars form is essentially a giant block of salt rising out of the desert. Over time, the landscape naturally produces these formations. Some of them are small, some of them are enormous, some of them look vaguely human from a distance. And because of that, people have been pointing to different pillars for centuries and saying, that one's Lot's wife. But there is no archaeological evidence that any of these formations were ever human beings. And there's still no confirmed archaeological site that all scholars agree is the biblical Sodom and Gomorrah. What scientists see is a landscape shaped by salt erosion, caves, and earthquakes. What storytellers saw thousands of years ago may have been something different. A strange pillar rising out of a salt mountain, a landscape that looks like frozen destruction. And the same question humans have always asked when we see something unusual in nature: how did that get here? Sometimes the answer becomes geology. Sometimes the answer becomes mythology. Patriarchy and this story. This is where I need to say it plainly. This story could have been about him. Yeah. This story should have been about him. It should have been about him. He is the one the text says lingered. He is the one who hesitated. He is the one the angels had to physically grab by the hand and drag out. He is the patriarch. Genesis 19:16, but he lingered, and the men took hold of his hand, and the hand of his wife, and the hand of his two daughters, the Lord being merciful to him. And they brought him out and set him outside of the city. He lingers, and the Lord shows him mercy. The man hesitates, and heaven makes room for his hesitation. The man delays, and the angels physically help him. The man falters, and the story bends itself toward compassion. But the woman turns toward the sound of devastation, and she becomes the warning. That is not accident. That is patriarchy in the text. Because patriarchy does not just decide who has power. Patriarchy decides whose emotions are forgivable, whose fears gets interpreted kindly, whose grief gets mercy, whose hesitation gets a hand reaching out, and whose humanity gets turned into a sermon illustration. He lingers, she looks back. He gets mercy, she becomes the warning. And then for centuries, the story is told as if she is the weak one, as if she is the faithless one, as if she is the unstable one, as if she is the cautionary tale. That is misogyny. And misogyny does not only wound women, it does unbearable damage to men too. Because once you build a world where a woman is punished for grieving, men are learning from that story as well. They're learning, do not look back, do not mourn, do not hesitate, do not feel too deeply, do not let grief slow you down. Do not show weakness. Just keep moving, just obey, just harden yourself. That is what patriarchy teaches. It teaches women that their humanity is dangerous, and it teaches men that their humanity is weakness. And when boys grow up inside that system, they become men who often do not have language for grief, do not have permission to be vulnerable, and do not feel safe admitting when they are not okay. The cost of that is not theoretical. In the United States, men make up about half the population, but nearly 80% of suicide deaths. And the male suicide rate is roughly 4 times higher than the female rate. Men are also far less likely to seek mental health treatment. Studies consistently show that women access mental health care at significantly higher rates than men, leaving many men struggling without support. And the violence does not always turn inward. In cases of family annihilation, situations where a person kills their entire family, the perpetrators are overwhelmingly male. Research reviewing these cases has found that over 90% of family annihilation cases are committed by men, and many of those events end with a man taking his own life. So misogyny is not just something that harms women. Misogyny is part of a system that teaches men to fear vulnerability, fear grief, fear weakness, and fear asking for help. When sadness is treated as weakness, pain becomes shame. And when pain becomes shame, it gets buried. And buried pain does not disappear. It comes out as anger. It comes out as silence. It comes out as self-destruction. It comes out as violence. It comes out as men who were never taught how to carry sorrow without turning it into harm. So when I read this story, I do not see a woman being blamed. I see a system. A system where the man's hesitation receives mercy and the woman's grief receives judgment. A system where the male failure is forgiven and the female response becomes legendary punishment. A system that teaches women to disappear and teaches men not to cry while it happens. And that system is not holy, it is harmful. The problem of salt. And now stop with me here, because there is one observation we have to look at. I can't help but notice that the punishment in this story is strange. She becomes a pillar of salt. And that detail matters because throughout the Bible, salt is usually something good. Salt preserves life. Salt protects food from decay. Salt keeps things from rotting. Salt represents something valuable. Jesus even uses salt as a symbol for people who bring goodness into the world. Matthew 5:13. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt has lost its flavor, with what will it be salted? It is then good for nothing but to cast out and trodden under the feet of men. In that teaching, salt is something precious, something that preserves what is good in the world, something that keeps things from falling apart. Salt is what protects life, which makes this story deeply ironic. Because when this woman turns toward the destruction behind her, the punishment she receives is the very substance that Scripture usually treats as valuable. She becomes salt. But maybe there is another way to read that moment. Maybe the story meant to shame her. Maybe the story meant to turn her into warning. But sometimes stories reveal something deeper than the lesson they tried to teach. Because what do we actually see her do? She refuses to look away. Everyone else runs. Everyone else keeps their eyes forward, but she turns. She looks at the violence. She looks at the destruction. She looks at the suffering behind her. She refuses to pretend it is not happening. And maybe that moment is not weakness. Maybe it is courage. Maybe it is grief. Maybe it is compassion. Maybe it is resistance. Maybe it is a woman saying, no, I will not run away from the people I care about while they are being destroyed. I will not pretend this violence is not happening. I will look. And if the story wants to freeze her in that moment, then maybe we can see something different in the symbol. Maybe we can see the woman who refused to look away from suffering became the very thing Scripture calls valuable, the salt of the earth. A woman who stood in the middle of devastation and chose to witness it. a woman whose humanity would not let her turn away. And if I ever stand in that desert one day and see those salt pillars with my own eyes, that is what I will remember. Not a warning, not a punishment. I will remember a woman who had a home, a woman who had neighbors, a woman who had people she loved, a woman who refused to run without looking back. And in that moment of grief, shock, and resistance, she became the salt of the earth. And that's today's anti-sermon. Thank you all for joining me. I do have a couple of guests. I am only going to be live for 55 more minutes because I do have to go to the doctor today, finally getting the knee looked at again. I don't know if these people are still here, but I'll try to bring them up. See if they're still around. Thank you. If anybody wants to come up and talk about the anti-sermon or anything, you can come up for that too. I really need an applause machine so I can applaud myself when I'm done. Why didn't you let me bring you up? Well, I keep getting requests, but then when I bring them up, nobody's coming up. Anyway, yeah, I realized I had missed Lot's wife and his daughter, so we'll be getting into those in a minute too. That'll be our next sermon. I'll probably be writing that tonight. I'm trying to catch up on all of them so that we can get the color workbook put out. Pretty excited about that. Hey, Rats.
Hey,
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good.
That was an excellent anti-sermon. I love that. That was my first one that I listened to. That was great.
Oh, good. Well, it is a podcast, so if you want to listen to older ones, they drop on Wednesday. Well, it drops at 12:01 tonight.
On all the usual podcast spots, like Apple Podcasts.
Yes,
that's
and
what I
it's called
usually use.
Anti-sermons. Yeah,
Perfect.
And it's AUNTIE, like I'm your auntie. It's because I use ChatGPT to edit all my sermons because I am not an editor. I can write, but I cannot edit. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know how to use grammar or punctuation. So, and when I said I was dictating into it, like anti-sermons or whatever, and it did AUNTIE instead of ANTI, and I was like, wait, I like that. I'm going to keep that.
That is really
That's
cool.
what the name of the podcast is going to be.
So anti-sermons with an AUNT. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I just wanted to say about that. You were talking about a lot of the impact that the belief system has on men and the way it permeates our whole society, even people who don't call themselves Christian, probably even especially so in some cases. Because, a lot of times people who aren't Christian don't even have the framework of like the Christian system to guide the Christian guilt that they've been left with anyway from just living in a society run by Christians. And a lot of stuff you said about men was hitting the nail on the head. And I think an important thing, really important thing that I like that you said was talking about like regulating which emotions are forgivable. Because men do that to women, of course, but also to each other quite a bit. And it's something that is it's probably the number one thing I would say that men do to each other and to women is regulate what emotions are allowed at any one point or not. Like here on TikTok, you hear it all the time. I've noticed it so much. I mean, my partner is non-binary, of course, but they get perceived as a woman frequently all the time. And just the way they get spoken over compared to the way I don't get spoken over is ridiculous. And I've noticed when they stream solo, the arguments that get brought up, the type of people who come up in the first place are completely different. It's
crazy, huh? I talk about all the time because since I'm on the daytime, and then like Joel and Mezzo usually are on at night. Mezzo, no, I'm just kidding. I will have guests that then go on their show at night, and then I'll be in the chat watching them. And they are so fucking different with Joel and Mezzo than they are with me. That, first thing this morning when I'm talking to somebody, they're like, "You're screaming." I have not yelled at all today. What are you talking about? I'm screaming. But because I talk, that's immediately screaming,
What it is that they hate a feminine voice that has more, sense, or is just louder than theirs. Like what Asher says in the comments there, men forgive each other for extreme anger, but demonize a woman who raises her voice a little bit. She's right on the nail.
True. It's true. And they often talk about how emotional women are. Meanwhile, men are out here literally beating the shit out of people because they honked at them at the red light. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Women are emotional. You guys can't handle somebody honking at you at a red light. And I really think that if we would just teach our boys when they're boys, that it is okay to have emotions. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to think things are unfair. It's okay to have these feelings and to express these feelings in a healthy way. Like, I remember when my kids were growing up, kids cry and they have temper tantrums. That just fucking happens, okay? And I realized I didn't want to tell them to stop crying. Oh, I lost you somehow. I didn't want to tell them to stop crying, okay? Because I think that sends a bad message. I think that's one of the messages where you're trying to control somebody's emotions. So if they were having a full-on breakdown where they're crying and they can't control their tears and they can't control it, I would tell them, it's okay to feel that way, but I'm going to ask you to go do that in your bedroom because you're doing it right now where everybody is trying to watch TV or play video games or eat dinner. And, we've tried to console you. You don't want us to console you. You just need to let it out. And that's okay. But you're going to go do that in your bedroom so that you don't disrupt everybody else while you're doing it, And so they learned that they were allowed to have, and if they were crying, I would try to console them. But sometimes when the child's having a breakdown, there is no consoling. There is literally
I mean, when you're a kid, sometimes that might have literally been the worst thing to happen in your life up until that point. Even if it's such a small thing by adult standards, that might legitimately be one of the most distressing things, or the top 10 most distressing things that have happened yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like with little boys, I notice a lot that aggression in young boys is laughed at first. And so it's seen as funny up until about age 5, and then they get put around another kid and they smack a kid, and then all of a sudden it's a problem. But it's by age 5 with some boys, that's already instilling things that are dangerous by that point that you have to now undo in a 5-year-old. Like that's something I notice a lot that bothers me. It's like when like a 3-year-old smacks his mom in the face or something like that, and they don't handle that. They let it happen. They laugh at it or things like that. That's like they allow, and then while also suppressing the crying. Okay, you gotta be quiet. You don't cry. Be quiet. But like being angry and doing stuff gets positive attention and laughter. Crying and sadness and stuff like that gets negative attention, and even that starts training boys from a very young age that it's being angry is a proper expression of being a boy. Being any other thing is not a proper expression of being a boy.
When I grew up in a very patriarchal household, my brother was favored among 4 children. There was 3 daughters and 1 son, and he was the fucking golden child. He could do no wrong. He was very abusive to us, his sisters, and even up until my parents passed away, it was like that. He was the golden child. And he is such a hateful, miserable human being who has no emotional regulation at all. He cannot handle an emotion properly. And so when I had a son, I was like, oh no, we're not reliving that world. Okay. That is not happening here. I hate when women say about their sons, well, boys will be boys when they hit somebody or something. What are you talking about? No. You teach your sons, you teach them and say no. Again, you can have the anger emotion. I also did something with my kids about that. I think anger is a valid emotion. And sometimes you just want to let that anger out some way, but you want to let it out healthy. Like, I don't want to hit, I feel at the moment that I want to hit somebody, but that's not really what I want to do. But I do want to release that tension that I'm feeling, right? So they had this little futon, a little kid-sized futon that would pull out into like a little bed, and it was like a little couch that was really lightweight. And I would turn it up on its end, and I would let them like punch it like a punching bag when they were like, go in there and kick the futon's ass, okay?
The fight futon.
Yeah, and
That's
sometimes
hilarious.
like when they would hurt themselves, I would go, do you want me to cuss for you right now? Because they knew they weren't supposed to. And they would go, yes. And I would say, God damn it, motherfucker. And then they would laugh because I was cussing for them. But I think that we have to teach children that our emotions are valid. They're important. We have them, but we also have to regulate them and have healthy ways to express them. And we don't do that, especially with boys. And because of it, their suicide rates are extremely high. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I lost a brother this past year to that.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
Yeah, I thank you for that. It's a big reason I feel like I've been making a presence and trying to speak more and be out involved in things like this, because
I'm really
I
glad
think
that you do that.
it's important to me for a lot of reasons, but that's a big one. And like you were saying, this religion hurts people. It hurts people who are in the religion. It hurts people who are outside of the religion by being in the presence of people in the religion. It is dangerous and harmful, in my opinion, and it needs to be realized as such. People give it too many passes and excuses. Even atheists give it passes and excuses. Well, I don't want to hurt someone's beliefs or something. Well, their beliefs are affecting the way they vote. They are hurting you. They're hurting themselves with their beliefs. I'm not gonna, it might be rude to put out the fire on somebody, I guess, but I'm still gonna put out the fire. I don't know.
Yeah. I've
it's
talked
frustrating
about that
watching
with
it happen.
atheist friends too, because they're like, because I think I felt that way when I first left. When I first realized I didn't believe anymore, I guess, because I don't know. I think there's stages to when you come to the realization, especially if you were like devout for many years or something. And there was a part of me that, okay. And so when I don't think that most of us call ourselves atheists right away. Like, I think we go into not believing, but atheist is taught to be such a heinous thing when you're growing up in the church that you don't want to take that label yet, right? So I just didn't believe. But I remember thinking, but I don't want to take anybody's faith away from them, because what if I'm wrong? And what if it really helps them? That's the way I felt. And I really thought that. Until the more people I talked to, and then I was like, oh no, fuck this shit. This hurts everybody. It hurts everybody. It hurts everybody. What? Like, no, I want to take this faith away from as many people as I can before I leave this planet. That is my goal, especially women and marginalized people. What are you doing believing in this religion that marginalizes you?
And I feel like women have a lot of power and the chance to make a difference in their households with this. I think despite the sort of biblical narrative of men being spiritual leaders, I don't feel like that's actually the case in a lot of Christian households. It often seems like women are taking the lead on faith and spiritual matters themselves. So I think reaching out to women especially is going to be one of the most effective ways to do that. So like my position, I'm probably going to have to be talking to more men anyway, because, but I think it's important that women are the people who mainly see the light on this.
I agree. I've talked to a lot of people, and if you and most people tell me that the woman, the mother of their house is the one who was more religious. The mother was the one getting them up and getting them all to church on Sunday. The mother was the one who was pushing for that. Same with me, and same for when I was the mom at home. It was me dragging everybody to church on Sunday. And actually, there are women groups where we talk about this. We literally had groups where we would be like, it's really hard to get my husband to get up and go to church and do this with me. And so, and women, let's talk about what they do in the church too. They clean the pews, they clean the bathrooms, they put the food together whenever there's any event at all. They take care of the sick, and they help people during the funeral and the dying and the weddings and all of that. If women leave the church, there is no church. Yeah, right. And the childcare. And there is no church left if women leave the church. There's just really nothing. Like, because the men, they collect the money and then they check the roof now and then make sure there's no leaks.
Yeah, they'll hold a committee and spend some money occasionally.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you are a believer, the God of the Bible, you want to come up, the guest box is open. I'm talking today about why does God hate Esau, but not Satan? It's always kind of bothered me. I have a fond affection for Esau. That's what my chat GPT's name is. Because I think that he's this hated character for no reason. He literally did nothing. And in the end, when he reunites with Jacob, he runs to him with open arms. He's not even mad at him for everything he did. Good morning, Nicholas. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. I got to go to the doctor today, so I'm not going to be here very long today. I got to have my knee checked out. I think I have what's called a Baker's cyst. It's like a little cyst behind your knee, and then water, like it gets like a pocket of water back there, whatever, and then it causes strain on your whole leg, and it hurts so bad right now. So I'm hoping I get like a cortisone shot today or something. I don't know. Whatever they do. I need some pain relief.
So, why does God hate Esau but not Satan? And my thought process is Satan serves a purpose where Esau does not. Esau was quick to give up his birthright over, a bowl of soup. And whereas Satan is always ever so obedient. So that's my thought on it.
But I hate when people put it, and not you personally, but I hate when they whittle it down to he gave up his birthright over a bowl of soup. The man was starving because he had just come from war or something. He hadn't eaten. He was famished, it says. Famished, okay? And so he's starving and he goes to his brother. Can you imagine? And for me, with my own children, if my daughter was starving and she goes to her brother and says, can you feed me? And my son was like, yeah, as long as you give me your whole inheritance. I would have been pissed at him. I would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Your sister's hungry, fucking feed her. Are you kidding me right now? What are you talking about? And nobody ever gets mad at Jacob for that. Nobody sees that Jacob is being greedy and a fucking horrible human being in that moment.
He's rewarded for being duplicitous so many times in his story. Yeah. From the womb.
Right?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get going. I'm looking forward to talking to you Sunday, though. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
I can't wait to see you guys. Make sure you're following Rat Soup, okay? We are going to be live together Sunday on Decon Q&A, and you guys get to come up and ask him questions, along with his partner, Robot Goat.
I mean, we are also discussing the same God that made his people eat bird shit. I mean... So for him, giving up your birthright for a bowl of soup would be pretty bad, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. I just think that people are horrible that look at that verse and go, Esau deserved to be hated. First of all, he was hated before that fucking happened. So that has nothing to do with why God hated him. He was hated before that. So, I mean, God had already chosen while he was in the womb that Jacob was going to be get his birthright anyway. God had already decided.
And wasn't it Rabbi Bert who said Jacob's name meant deception?
Somebody did tell us that. Let me look that up.
I think it was Rabbi Bert. Which is odd that God would choose a deceptive character, but...
Hey, Esau, does the name Jacob mean deception? Yes, Jacob's name is closely connected with deception, though the literal meaning is a little more nuanced. The Hebrew translation, Yaakov, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I'm sorry. It comes from the Hebrew root meaning heel. This is why the story explains his name the way it does. After his brother came out with his hand gripping Esau's heel, so he was named Jacob. So the literal idea is Jacob equals heel grabber. How it becomes associated with deception. Later in the story, Esau himself interprets the name this way. Book of Genesis 27:36. Is he not rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. So already 2 times. See, nobody talks about Jacob doing this. Esau's like fucking calling him out twice, you know. He took away my birthright and now he is taking away my blessing. The Hebrew word Esau uses there is Yahkeveni, meaning to supplant, to overreach, to take someone's place by trickery. So linguistically, the name does not literally mean deceiver, but it carries the idea of heel grabber, supplanter, one who overtakes another.
Yeah, like, I get the narrative of God picking unworthy people all the time to, you know, bring them up and boost them up. However, their bad stuff doesn't stop, though. I mean, look at how much bad shit that went under the and I do call it the reign of Moses. I mean, the horrific atrocities they were committing under him, and like I mean, I just wish Christians would just admit that this is a war god. Like, he cannot be all good if he is a war god. I mean, if we could be like so for real about the text and admit that he was a war god and that he did commit I would have way more respect for Christians if they could just admit who he is. Because let's face it, I don't think there's any god from any pantheon that is all of love. I believe that they were all war gods to an extent, because during this time, people were living in very dark times. They were massed alive by not just other nations, but by the elements and drought and, you know, with the Norse, for example, freezing cold temperatures, plagues. They needed their gods to be horrific. And I just wish more people would understand that concept, and that we shouldn't be striving to be like God. We should be striving to be better than God. And that for me is the point.
Yeah. You guys, if you want to join the call and you're over on YouTube, you have to come on over to TikTok. Right now, I don't have a way for you to join the call on YouTube, but I'm going to work on that this week and see if we can, you know, just figure out a little something for you guys. I was thinking Discord would work, but I'm not positive. I'm trying to figure out if there would be any. If I have them call on Discord and I pick it up on my iPad, there shouldn't be any feedback issues. So I might try that this week and see if we can't have you guys call in from over there. Hey, Ashra, how are you?
Hi, can you hear me okay? Am I echoing or anything?
Yes.
Okay.
No, you sound great.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I was thinking that popped in my head when you were talking about your sermon. And my apologies, maybe you already brought it up because I took a couple calls, but it reminded me of like people that are fleeing a city because it's about to be destroyed by certain things that are happening right now. You know what I mean? Like, and God was like, don't look back at who I'm destroying. Don't look at that G side over there. Like, pretend like it's not happening. Just keep moving, and you know. So that's kind of where my mind went.
And that's why I like the way that the feminist authors looked at it as resistance. Like, she was like, no, I'm fucking looking back. You're doing this, and I'm going to bear witness to it. Somebody should be seeing what you're doing. You know, somebody needs to be paying attention. And I like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Double Edge Ministries and Little Light 86. If you want, come on over to TikTok. I'm only going to be live for a half hour more, so you got to get over here. LG, good to see you. And you can talk to me over here. If not, I will try to get a way for you guys to Discord call in this week, and we'll see if that works. Maybe Nick can help me do a test run sometime this week or something, or Tahir or somebody. But also, like, in doing these studies, I always learned something new that I feel like I should have known, but I fucking never knew that he lingered. Did you guys know that a lot lingered? Like, did that sit with you before? Did you realize that he doubted too? That pissed me off. Because we don't talk about that. Why don't we talk about Lot's doubt? Why don't we talk about the fact that he fucking got mercy and she didn't?
Because women.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, it's you're to be submissive, obedient, do as I say, not as I do, quiet, kept to self, be my breeder, follow all the orders of men. Men get, rewarded for like, look at what happened with Miriam. I mean, Aaron was never punished for that, only she was. I mean, I like, she's the one who ended up with freaking leprosy.
I know, right? Fuck, that made me mad when I read that too. Stop it, Nick. You're gonna make me mad. No, I'm just kidding. You guys, over on YouTube it says, if God's creation is perfect, then it's obvious that Satan set up your streaming studio. Well, I just want to thank Satan and the Devil's Public Defender, because as you guys know, I'm working towards upgrading all my computer equipment so I can stream more places and stream with better quality. And Devil's Public Defender has generously donated a lot of money so far. If you want to donate, the link is in my bio to my throne. And also, if you're a creator and you would like to be able to have people crowdfund for something for you, send you gifts off your Amazon wish list, and not have to give out your address or have them see your address in any way, form, or fashion, check out Throne. If you need a referral code, let me know. I've got you. I can hook you up with that, okay? But it's a really nice, safe way for us creators to be able to receive gifts and have people crowdfund for us. So people are crowdfunding right now for my PC upgrade, and it is in the Throne, so you could check that out. Also on the Throne, you could drop guests, you can extend my show. There's all kinds of things you can do over there. But I'm also going to be reselling things right now to help earn money for the computer. So I'm going to be tracking that, and I'll do videos of that, because I used to be a reseller. I've told you guys I've sold lots of Mormon underwear in my day, as well as many other vintage and cool things. And so I'm doing that again just to raise money for my computer. So you guys will be able to follow along with me in my videos if you are following me. And if Satan was, your audio sold its birthright to a bull of lentils. Is my audio bad over on YouTube again? Is there an echo? Can you tell me specifically what is wrong instead of being a weirdo? But yeah, if Satan is control, well, it's kind of cool because he's helping me upgrade my studio. If Satan is in control, well, I don't know. I kind of like him because all my numbers are going up. Just saying.
Hey,
I think I
Crystal,
picked the right guy.
may I just talk to the chirper in the comments for a quick second?
Sure. Is it
So-
his?
Yeah, so he said, show your altar. Okay, so here is my altar. This is Odin, the All-Father, and I have
Let's
placed
blow
him...
you up.
This is my altar. This is Odin, the All-Father, and I've placed him on, you know, our literature from our belief system. Now, let me tell you something. Odin promised to rid the world of frost giants, and your god promised world peace. I don't see world peace, but I sure as hell don't see frost giants either. Therefore, my god has more backing than you do. And that's all I wanted to say to the chirper.
Okay, you guys on YouTube, tell me if I fix it, okay? I just did something to the audio. Tell me if that fixes. That's really fucking cool.
Something else I would like to point out about Odin is his worship dates all the way back to Mesopotamian Marduk. So my god is also far more ancient than yours as well. So if you want a flexing contest about gods, I've got the biggest flex. Thank you.
That is cool. I have no
issue doing dick measuring contests when it comes to the gods. No issue at all. But yeah, he said show your altar. So there you go. I showed my altar. Gemma.
Hey, silly goose, when you get a chance, will you tell me if there's still an echo over there? Because I did something to the audio. I want to see if it fixed it.
Nicholas, could you tell us about the animals that were all around him in your altar? Yeah, absolutely. So you have the two Rainans. Wow, English, sorry. Ravens, which are Hunan and Moonan, and they represent thought and memory. You also have... what else was there? Was there the wolf? Other depictions of him will have his eight-legged horse Sleipnir, which was given to him by Loki, but we don't like to talk about that story. Yeah, no. Yeah, one of our gods may have banged a horse, but we don't talk about Bruno. So yeah.
We don't talk about Bruno. No. Oh, I can't sing that because I'm on YouTube. I'll get like sued or something. I don't know what happened. Something bad.
Yeah, there is fish. So we were primarily an ocean people. That's how my ancestors got around, was by ocean rather than landmass. That is how we not discovered new places, but found other nations. Yeah, so it was, we are a water people. I think there was a wolf too. Sorry? I think there was a wolf too. Yeah, that is probably... See, this is the problem when you buy crap off of Temu. They kind of just add things in there, but...
Okay, well, maybe the bear had more. I think I saw a bear, too.
Yeah. It also depends on what nation you come from. So you got the Germanic / Proto-Germanics, which had a different name, slightly different stories from them. Then you had the Icelandics, you had the Norse, the Scandinavians. So it also depends where you came from and what kind of animal symbols that you venerate the most. For me personally, it's Hunan and Moonan, because I do have diagnosed educational disabilities that rope around memory. I have diagnosed low working memory, so I kind of keep them as a symbol of, I don't think they'll actually do anything to boost the memory, but, it's just kind of a symbolic thing. It's something that means a lot to me.
Well, thank you, Nicholas. That was very interesting.
Andre over on YouTube is funny. He said your audio turned around to watch the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and was turned into a pillar of salt. You guys, I'm sorry about my audio on YouTube. Every day I try to fix it. Every fucking day, okay? And until we upgrade the computer, I'm afraid I'm still gonna have those problems. If anybody does stream from OBS by capturing a browser window and you've got tips from me, send me a DM, because right now I'm using Chrome. Everybody told me to, and it always fucks up. I've done everything to make sure Bluetooth is off. No headphones are plugged in. I've turned down everything I can. I have the fucking thing muted. I don't know what else to fucking do, man. I hate OBS. I hate all this bullshit. That's why we're trying to get a new computer, because hopefully I won't have to do it this way where I'm capturing a window. We will actually use the computer itself to do the streaming, and that should make things easier in my life. I'm hoping. I don't know.
I know Benny's been having problems too. When he has somebody that logs in through the link to speak, people who are on his panel can't hear the person. And he's been trying to... I think
he's using Video Ninja, right? He uses Video Ninja for call-ins.
Yeah, so he's been having issues over there too with tech.
There's always tech issues, man.
Yep. I thought it was supposed to make our lives easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Meanwhile, I'm getting closer and closer to moving out to the bush. Like, I'm done with this shit. I'm out. No more technology for me.
So I will, there will be a new episode dropping at 12:01 tonight. If I remember, this is a really good episode too. Like, I think it's my consent episode. So you want to make sure you check that out. I want to thank everybody who's been listening to my anti-sermons and spreading the word about my anti-sermons. I am going to have a companion color/workbook for the sermon, so you can listen to the podcast, get yourself like some coffee, some tea, maybe a little tequila. I don't know, whatever you fucking drink. Sit down, listen to the podcast while you color if you want, and then there'll be questions to help you in your deconstruction, to help you decenter men and get rid of this fucking patriarchy. So yeah, things to reflect on to help you in us dismantling the patriarchy. So I'll be working on that, but I have a few more sermons in Genesis that I had somehow just like flew right by, and we are going back and we're going to get all of them. And now I have a new system for how it's hard to find all the women, because we're looking at all the women who are named and not named. And some of them, you don't realize it is a woman that's being named because their names are weird, right? Like, so it's not like it just says Betty and Susie in there. You got to go, oh, Mehetzabel. Oh, that's a woman too, or whatever, so I missed a few. And so we're going to go back. We're going to get all those. I'm doing one almost every day right now just to get us caught up, so I can get the workbook out and we can have a workbook for the women of Genesis. And I think it'll be pretty fun. I'm excited about it.
I'm absolutely in love with this entire concept.
You.
It's like being a voice for the voiceless.
Yeah, and so it actually makes me sad sometimes when I'm reading the stories and I realize how amazing some of these women were, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you really couldn't write about her? Really? And then it makes me feel like, I don't know, like what you're telling me was you didn't really want any of this story to resonate with me. And, people people who have representation everywhere you look, like white cis men, they don't understand why representation matters to other people. And when you realize that you've been left out of stories that are told as facts, when you've been left out of those things, you realize the devastation, and I don't know. It makes me sad every time I think about one more woman who was pivotal to the entire fucking Israel line, and she doesn't get even a name. I don't know. Fucking pisses me off every time.
I think the most heartbreaking one for me, next to Tamar, because let's face it, that one was pure brutality. And the only reason why her other brother was mad is because, the property value just went down. Let's be so for real. But it's Eve. Because, yeah, they gave her a name, but they made her disappear. And that always hurt, because she is supposed to be the supposed mother of creation. She's supposed to be, not the divine feminine, but as close as you would get. And they just make her disappear, and it becomes entirely the world of men. And it's just so heartbreaking and disgusting for me that they did that to her. The person who was supposed to be mother of all, they made disappear. I think that will forever be the most heartbreaking story for me.
I don't know. The more I go through, there's ones that I find, like, I don't know. Hang on, once I'm going to address two things. One, Deity Night 01, Esau is described as unholy and profane. No, he's not. Satan is the same way. You can assume he hates both. No, I can't. He literally says he hates Esau, never says he hates Satan. And no, Esau is never described as unholy or profane. You're going to need to give me those verses. You're going to fucking lie about the book. But yesterday, I did an anti-sermon about Jacob's sons' wives. And it was about Genesis 46:26. And it says that they counted all the persons, 66, except for Jacob's sons' wives. So they weren't even human enough to count. And that really got to me. And I thought, if there is ever a verse that tells women, like, you don't count, it is Genesis 46:26. Don't tell me what to do. See, now I'm not bringing you up, Truth. I don't fucking ever bow to a man. Do you understand that? Once you start demanding me to do things, I refuse to do them.
And it's also basic manners. I mean, you come into a live, you see somebody talking, you want to add to the conversation, you say, hey, may I come up, please? I think manners is something, maybe it's the Canadian in me, but manners is something that seriously lacks nowadays. I mean, I might be 40, but my mom would knock me into the next realm if she caught me talking to people like that and not using manners. Like, it's wild.
Yeah, it is wild. I don't care. You can call it running if you want. I don't give a fuck. Ghost, why do you sit behind an anonymous account and say stupid things? It's weird. It's also weird to me how much hate immediately comes out of these Christian men's mouths, immediately from their keyboard. Immediately there's hate and I don't know, I don't know. And as a Christian, I really, really believed this. And I've said this many times before. I really believed they would know we were Christians by our love. And so I thought I would not even have to speak because I was so kind and loving. You would immediately know I was a Christian. And now I realize it is the hatred that allows me to immediately recognize them as Christians.
Mm-hmm. And
It's
Ghost, I would
literally
like
their
to
hatred.
Ghost, I would like to remind you of Galatians 5:23 through 23, and also Ephesians 4:29. You should pick up the Bible. Bless God. It's like the Bible says, you will know them by their fruits. Well, and the fruit's rotten, and that's how we know of them.
Yes, Ghost, what hate am I spreading, Pumpkin?
You're hating on God for hating Esau, but not Satan. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, because I liked Esau. Esau was a good guy. Fuck God,
Yeah, he
man.
was.
Like, I don't even understand what that whole thing was about. All it was to make people hate redheads. It was all about just being hateful. The whole story is about, I hate when there is animosity among brethren, but I also am God, and I'm going to cause animosity between Jacob and Esau and their whole tribes because I'm going to create it before they're even born. What the fuck? What kind of a God does that? So
That's
weird.
why I swear God is a middle child, because it's always the middle child energy. Always. Like, it just, you read the stories, you see who he picks on in the stories, who he doesn't, and it's like, man, you are a middle child.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I like Esau too, because I have a redhead and I love redheads. I think that they are treated poorly in this world too. You guys, thank you so much for being here. I am going to be cutting out of here in just a few minutes because I have to go to the doctor's and have my knee checked out. I will be back tomorrow with another auntie sermon. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to talk about Lot's daughters. So, that's going to be juicy. So you want to make sure you check that out. Hi, Kyle. How are you? Robin, good to see you. Hell yeah. Gingers are amazing. But yeah, so that should be a good story tomorrow about Lot's daughters. So make sure you check that out. I think I lied on Joel and Mezzo's show. I think that I said that I do a separate sermon for each woman, but that's actually not true because there are some women that I do group together because their stories go together and it would be very redundant to separate them, like Lot's daughters. There's not a separate sermon for them. It will be one sermon. I'm not trying to disprove God to you, Ghost, and I haven't whined. I don't know where you're hearing the whining that must be coming from your own head, sir, because all I've done is talk. The fact that you can't handle a woman's voice means that you probably hate your mom, and you should go talk to a therapist about that, because a lot of men do hate their mom, and in turn, because they hate their mom, they hate women, and you're kind of showing that right now. I bet you're a lonely little incel who lives in your mom's basement, and you wank it all day, and then you got a little bored and you turned on TikTok. But you know what? That's a you problem. I don't know. You need to work that out with your therapist and your mom.
Again, Galatians 5:20 through 2:23. Read your damn book, please. I mean, it's pretty sad when
nothing I said had to do with being a liberal. Why did they always bring politics into it? Literally talked about you wanking it in your mother's basement. That has nothing to do with politics, Pumpkin. You are very confused right now. Have you hydrated today, sir? I think that you're a little dehydrated and maybe a little intoxicated. Not sure. It's a little early.
Oh, I'm not telling her. I'm telling you, Ghost. Galatians 5:22 through 23. Go read your damn book. And by the way, I would not dare to tell Crystal anything unless I'm, bringing up some cool fact I know about the Bible. I would never dare to tell Crystal anything. Number one, I have way too much respect for Crystal and women in general. And number two, she would beat the shit out of me. Come on, let's be so for real right now.
Well, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here today. I will be back tomorrow. Hopefully, YouTube, I will fix your fucking audio problem. I'm going to talk to Tahir about it when I get done here. Or not right now, but maybe later today. And maybe she can help me figure out how the fuck I fix this problem once and for all. I thought I fixed it yesterday when I unplugged the headphones, made sure the Bluetooth was turned off, changed the volume settings, and nope, it didn't help. So we're gonna figure that out. We'll fix that. I want you guys to have a wonderful day. Is Mezzo still live? Can we go raid Mezzo or something? I don't know if he's still alive or not. Whoever, go raid somebody. Tell him Crystal loves you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys around the mean streets of YouTube and TikTok.
Right, and some of Peter's, because Peter's was letters that were written back and forth, I believe was 1st or 2nd Corinthians. And it was, so those are the big things that I kind of hit on, is rather than, because religion starts wars, right? We've known that in the past. That's just a known fact. So I think stepping back from religion is better to understanding kind of what the idea was when Jesus came. Because my idea is he's saying, hey, everybody was wrong. Because he's telling all the Pharisees, like, you vipers, you're not performing and doing what the Word of God is, because the natural feeling in most humans is violence, or, what I guess the right word would be self gratitude. It's kind of doing what you would like to do all the time.
I'm not totally sure I'm tracking. I'm just trying to understand what so you're saying that we should not do religion, which I'm on board with as an atheist.
Yeah.
And we should also not do the Bible, or we should keep the Bible?
Well, I think keep the Bible and use it more as a book of history rather than a book of religion.
Yeah, like don't look at this and go, this is true or something. We just look at it
Well,
and go, this is
true,
funny that people used to believe that this stuff happened or something like that.
there's true aspects to it, but just like anything, and somebody said this to me.
Yeah, but
If somebody picked up a Harry
there's
Potter
also
book
there's
in
such
the future,
horrible things in it too that we shouldn't keep it around, though, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's some
understand.
good true stuff in it, but there's also all the horrible stuff that starts wars. We should get rid of it, right?
Well, I think that's just natural within humans, right? Humans are going to take things and they can spin it in multiple different ways.
Well,
Like
sure,
you
but
could
you
pick
can
apart the
spin
Bible
something
by
good,
going,
but there's stuff in here that is bad. It's not spun bad. It is
I think
bad.
I think the fundamentals isn't, right? Let's go to like the Ten Commandments. The fundamentals, I mean, the idea of Ten Commandments, if you do that, that's pretty good law to follow, right? Like you probably shouldn't have sex with someone's wife. That's a pretty good idea.
Or what?
Or I mean, morality and everything.
What's the
like,
consequence of each of the 10 commandments if you don't do them?
well, it could be death. If you have sex with someone's wife, right? That guy, that
Should
person
be
that you
put
just
to
heard.
death.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
That's
that.
what it's saying, though, right? So cool. Here's an interesting list, but let's not use the Bible because it says to kill everybody who does all these things, and it says everybody does all these things. Let's start over. Let's get rid of this, right?
Well, that's where we, as we advance over time,
We're
We
way past
understand that.
this.
Right. But that's where we understand that, okay, not probably, but you shouldn't stone your wife, right? We can all agree on that.
Yeah, and they did.
But the thing is when it comes to the fundamentals of the Ten Commandments, right? If you do that, not saying, oh, well, we should put you to death, but the consequences that come from having sex with someone's wife, only you, as the person doing that, right, can accept the consequences. If somebody comes in after that, sees you having
That's fine.
sex
Look,
with
I
your
think
wife,
some of the 10 are interesting and some of them are stupid. Like, I don't agree with all of them. And I think there's not enough. So we don't need this.
which ones would you? Yeah, that's interesting.
Don't make idols. People should be allowed to make idols. I think that's a crazy rule.
Well, I think it's the idea. Okay, that's interesting. Why do you think having idols is good?
I think having like freedom of speech and expression is good. People should just be able to like make a statue if they want. Yeah. So that's a lame one, right? What are the rest of them? Hold on, let's find it. Let's just find it real quick.
They can make them, right? But worshiping them.
Do you think we should force religion on people?
No, everybody has a choice.
So let's do this one then. Let's look at the beginning. I'm the Lord your God who brought you to slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. I don't think that's true. I think we should have freedom of religion. I'm against the first one. You shall not make for yourself an idol, whether in the form of anything that is in heaven above or on the earth beneath that is in the water of earth. You shall not bow down to them nor serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing children for the iniquity of parents to the third and fourth generation of those who reject me, but showing steadfastly. Yeah, so this one I would completely get rid of because it includes, like I said, the punishment. It's in there, right? So that one sucks completely. And don't make an idol. Go ahead, guys, make an idol. If you want to make a statue and bow down to it, it's fine. It's like doesn't hurt society in any way. And punishing them by death is crazy. Okay, so let's get rid of. I'm against the first two. You shall make no wrongful use of the name of the Lord your God, for the Lord will not acquit anyone who misuses his name. Yep, the freedom of speech. I'm against this one too. So for the first three, I think are terrible. Remember the Sabbath. Who cares? What?
I'm assuming you have a Bible in your hand.
Yeah, this is just an NRSV.
Okay, you said NRSV?
Yeah, New Revised Standard Updated Version.
So, I mean, and I know that
You want King James?
Either King James or a New American. New American's a lot better to understand than the King James, but those are
I only have another King James here, so let's go to Exodus 20 and that. Sure. Okay. All right. Have no other gods before me. Got rid of that one. Don't make any graven images. Yeah, engraving's fine. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them. Well, that's still part of this one. Or I'm going to, this, it really is important. I'm going to hold children accountable 4 generations later for what their great grandparents do. That shouldn't be in there. Showing mercy to them. Okay, here we go. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. Yeah, that's stupid. Remember the Sabbath. Don't care. Get rid of that one. 6 days shall you labor, but on the 7th day rest. Yeah, look, this is like not necessary anymore, right? Okay, and also the reasoning is stupid because God needed a break. Honor thy father and mother. Yeah, sometimes, unless they suck, right? Like if your parents are abusive, then you shouldn't, and it should detail that here because that could lead to some problems. Thou shalt not kill. I mean, are we including self-defense? Like, I don't know exactly, because he does, right? So I think there are times where you're supposed to, but it's a little confusing. I'm anti-kill. I'll say that. I'm anti-killing. I think less killing is good.
It's good, yeah.
But it's, I think, not specific enough. Thou shalt not commit adultery, which does that mean like cheating on your wife or something?
Yeah, like having an affair or having, even though you may be single, but sleeping with someone's wife or husband, whichever way.
Does it say that that's what adultery is?
Well, that would just be at least and it could be back in the day. I don't know if it's different, but at least our definition of adultery.
Yeah, I'm against like cheating on people that you like, people that you're in love with or married to. I don't think people should cheat on people. Yeah. Thou shalt not steal. Again, I'm into this one. I don't think stealing's cool. I think that, like, if we allow stealing, society's going to not be as well off. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Now, sometimes people just mean this means don't lie, but it's kind of like weirdly specific for something else. And there are times where, like, with any of these, you can't hold to them too tightly. Like, there's times where, you do need to kill somebody if they're like attacking you, or you do need to lie if you're like, in World War II and Nazis come to your door and you're hiding Jews. You're going to lie. That's the good thing to do in that case. So, and I get that, like, in general, this is a nice thing to do. I think truth is important.
Yeah.
Do not covet your neighbor's house. I don't think this should be a rule. I think you should be allowed to, like, want your neighbor's house. Like, that's a cool house. I like that house. But it does mention that you also can't covet their wife or slaves, manservant or maidservant. So it's mentioning the slaves. It doesn't say not to have them.
Yeah, so it's in
this would have been a good time to say don't have maidservants or manservants. It should have said that right here.
Right.
Is that it? That's all 10? Yeah, I mean, pretty weak. It didn't mention rape. Don't rape anybody. Don't fuck kids. No molesting. That would have been good in here. There's like a few other things that I would have added in for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, it talks about how you shouldn't violate someone.
Where's that one? Which one was that one?
I believe it's also in Exodus.
Well, it's not in the 10 though, right?
No, it's on the 10 Commandments. So the 10 Commandments, my understanding, of course, is that's kind of like your, right? It's a good basis, right? Shouldn't murder, shouldn't commit adultery, shouldn't steal.
Man, I would have put don't fuck kids right in this one, right there, right in the middle of that one.
And again,
rule one. Yeah.
Well, I think there's some, I would hope, again, I would think there should be some common sense, which I'm sure you agree. There should be.
But then why are we putting don't steal and kill? That's common sense too, right?
For the time, it was different. And it wasn't all common sense, right? And that's where I can agree that
not stealing wasn't?
Sex. Oh yeah. Murder was way more common back in the day than it was obviously now.
James, so was fucking kids. They were doing that.
To them, it was right. 13-year-olds weren't kids.
Oh, James. Don't ruin a good conversation.
That wasn't a kid to them. Now, I'm not saying is it wrong? Yes. I'm not saying
exactly to them, and they were wrong. Their common sense was going against what was true. So God should have put a rule here. Their common sense was saying we can murder people sometimes. And then God was like, no, I know it seems like you can do that, but I'm saying no. He should have said, I know it seems like you can fuck 13-year-olds, but no, don't do that. He left that out.
Yeah, and they were moving at different times because they were considered a woman when they hit their periods.
Yeah, and that was incorrect, right?
Yeah.
And it went uncorrected by the all-powerful, all-knowing, all-good God, right? That just went uncorrected. Did he mention it later? Like, is it in Revelation or something? Or did they completely forget to put that in the Bible?
I'm not
should
sure.
have put that one in there.
I know Peter touches on a lot of different stuff, just like
Peter touched on a lot of kids. That's all he fucking did. They didn't mention it.
Well,
it's not in here. We've looked for it. It's not in here. They never said, and the age of consent is this.
Yes, they don't. They don't say an age of consent, right?
They don't mention consent at all for any age. They should have done that. Would have been a good thing to put in there. Instead of women are property and you can pass them around and pay their parents to marry them, they should have said, don't do that. Instead, get on one knee and ask kindly.
Yeah, and again, obviously we didn't live in that time, so we don't know all the kind of parameters. Just like now, 100.
Yeah, it says it in the Bible. It says all the how they bought and sold women and stuff like that.
Well, what do you mean? As far as like slavery? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and just like general wife.
Because prostitution wasn't okay in the Bible.
Right, I know, but you pay the dad to marry the daughter. That's in there.
Yeah, so that was when they would go to pay, right? Yes, it was a form of uniting, right? If you had hundreds of ox, let's say, right, and you're an established person, and this wealthy dad has a daughter that's of age, right? Because they wouldn't just offer 8-year-old, as far as I'm tracking. Most of them were.
I just
I would
realized it's
say,
12:10. I'm sorry. I have to go to work. I just realized what time it was. I'm sorry about that. But let's pick this up tomorrow night if you would be so kind. I just realized what time it was. I should have left a while ago. Look through the maybe just Google. I would say Google and be like, what does the Bible say about wives and buying them, and you'll find like 100 fucking verses about it. It's a lot. There's a lot going there, but sorry, I just realized what time it was. James, thanks for being here. Come back another time, okay?
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. I didn't realize what time it was, and let me just close. Oh shit, sorry. Real quick. Just gonna go through. Sorry, Jasmine.
Hey.
Hey, are you okay? What's up?
Yes, I'm okay. I was listening to that freaking guy that was